But I'm joined now by Aisla Rutter, OBE, Director of Fresh and Balance. Thank you very much for joining me. It seems this is such a muddled approach to doing it, that if they were just to say you can't buy cigarettes until you're 21, that would have some logic to it. But this year-by-year ban seems very odd.
I don't think it's muddled at all. I think actually, congratulations to the majority of the MPs this evening who voted on a very clear evidence-based policy, which is ultimately to end the biggest cause of cancer and health inequalities. And I think what struck me this afternoon is this concept of free choice. Well, smoking isn't a free choice, it's an addiction. And this is a uniquely lethal product, Jacob. What other product out there is guaranteed to sadly kill 2 or 3 of its long-term users? So
hold on. Guaranteed to kill 2 out of 3, so it's not guaranteed to kill. And alcohol can be an addiction. There are all sorts of things that become addictions, and we don't try and ban them. People eat junk food, and that becomes an addiction.
Absolutely, there are other things, but there is nothing as uniquely lethal as the cigarette. Can you imagine in 2024 if we're suddenly to introduce this new product, which is designed to hook people very much on the first time they use it?
Yes, but we're dealing with the world as it is. That's fantasy land, saying if it were to be introduced now. If aspirin were to be introduced now, it would have to go through all sorts of complex tests. It's just things that have been around for a long time continue to be allowed. We tried banning alcohol in America in the 1920s and 30s. It was a disaster.
But how wonderful to think, given the scale of pressure on the NHS, given the fact that we have a known product that causes 16 types of cancer, that we can take this bold seismic step and about future generations, so adult smokers now can continue to smoke. This is about saying, in a generation's time, why, Jacob, would we genuinely feel it was quite okay to think 15-year-olds now can be destined to die an early grave from completely avoidable smoking-related illnesses?
I wouldn't encourage people to smoke, but we're completely incapable of enforcing our drugs law. There was a thing in the paper today saying 1/3 of people with serious drugs aren't charged by the police. The police ignore it. Minor drugs are de facto legal in this country. We're doing absolutely nothing about that. It's hopeless failure of public policy, and we're concentrating on cigarettes.
We're concentrating on cigarettes because 26% of all deaths in the last 50 years have been down to smoking. They've been down to the tobacco companies peddling a highly addictive product with 6,000 odd chemicals in it. And the scale of harm on health, on social care, and really interestingly, the economy, and just previously on the previous programme was about workplace productivity. It was about how sick our workforce is, and this is a very clear driver of that because of smoking. So I think
hold on. Then it should have fallen, and in fact, workplace illness has been rising, whereas cigarette smoking has been collapsing over the last 40, 50 years, and yet we're getting sicker as a nation. So that correlation isn't there.
There's still a lot of sickness related to smoking-related causes, but I think you'll be surprised by actually the level of public support for this. So we work very closely with lots of people in the North East who smoke, or they've quit, or they've suffered from smoking-related illness. And they genuinely regret taking up smoking, but they really don't want their own children to fall into the same trap. And we know there's good cross-party support for this as well. I mean, in the North East, of our 12 local authorities, every single one supports this policy, as does, importantly, all of our NHS trusts. So I think we've got very high public and partner support for this. So,
the NHS loves bossing us about, as it did during the pandemic, and I don't think we should leave our lives for the NHS. But thank you very much, Aisla.